Ahoy hoy YouTube modeling community, it's a lazy-eyed modeler here in the Woody Workshop. This video is to do a wrap-up of the Motor City NNL in Warren, Michigan, just outside Detroit. My friend Bill and I headed down there on Saturday, stayed overnight and went to the show on Sunday and then returned Sunday afternoon, evening. It was another great show. They had something like 324 vendors, and I think the count was around 350 models on the table. Quite a successful show. Intend to go back again, although next year with NNL Nationals ending, not sure if we might attend that and not Detroit. That's kind of in flux at the moment, but anyway, I highly recommend the Motor City NNL if it's within distance where you can attend it. It's a growing show compared to when we first went there. The vendors have, I would say, tripled. They had scale model drag racing, slot car drag racing. That's the term I'm looking for, and that was interesting to watch. I didn't bring anything with me there again, not anything completed, but that's the story of my life. But there was a lot of quality stuff on the tables. Now I took pictures partially with my trusty old camera here, but I finally entered the 21st century and now have one of these thingies. My wife's, pretty much the only reason I have this now is that my wife's old 12-year-old or older flip phone, the battery is dying, so we had to upgrade that. She decided, well, these are what's out there these days, so she decided to get a new one. We had to rely on it, and it didn't make sense for me to still be carrying a flip phone when she had this type of thing, so now we both have one. So I attempted to take pictures with this, and I was pretty much going happily along, adjusting the size and up and down and taking pictures, but there doesn't seem to be a frame of reference. And even though I thought all the pictures were in frame, I'm thinking, looking at the photos on here, that they're not. I don't know how many of these pictures I'll be able to use, so obviously I've only had this like 3 days before the contest, so we'll see what I can get out of this. I don't know what the slideshow is going to be like when I get around to getting it made, but we'll see. Anyway, so I'll show you some of the stuff I picked up, and then I'll see about doing a slideshow later. And if you see my eyes, when I'm doing a video sliding sideways, it's because I'm checking my laptop, because this thing only seems to record so long and then it starts jittering. I don't understand why, but it is what it is. One of the first things I bought, I was walking along the aisle and they had one of these hanging there, and I said, I gotta have that. And they did pretty good sale, so I think this thing here will apply to a lot of us, not just me. But there's my new t-shirt. I can hang, I never do this right. Model Kit Hoarder. And like I say, they were selling quite a few of these, so I'm not alone in that. And I just laughed, and a lot of people laughed, and they bought them. So I bought some resin. I bought one kit. Let's start with the kit. I bought one kit, and it's the Dino Don Nicholson's Eliminator, the Cougar Eliminator. I had this, the original, way back when. I sold it when trying to go on a trip somewhere, and I regretted it, and I decided to pick up the latest release. And given that Mobius is coming out with a Dino Don Comet, I think they'll make a good set together. So I picked that up. That's the only kit I picked up. I picked up some resin from Jimmy Flintstone resin parts. Oh, the light is really, hang on, let's see. It's a it's a cab over 50 Chevy, and I want to say they were called Cannonballs. They had a nickname or another term for them, but It comes just with the body like this and the hood. And I decided to pair that with this long bed flatbed. And then I needed something to go on the flatbed, and I thought this was pretty cool, whether it goes on the flatbed or not. But it's a 50/57 Chevy pickup. It's a custom. They'll take quite a bit of work, but I think the whole thing will look neat in the long term. I picked up some paints. There's there's Bob's Paints. I believe I've spoken of Bob's Paints before. Okay, some days when you're trying to film these things, the equipment just does not seem to want to work right. At least I'm blaming the equipment, not the equipment operator. Anyway, back to what I picked up. I picked up actually different types of paint. The first I'm going to show you is from Bob's Paint. You can locate him on Facebook. All his paints are pretty much custom colors, although you can check with him to see if he'll do stock automobile colors. But for the most part, these are similar to House of Colors colors. House of Colors colors. Anyway, the first one I got is apple green. Now on the screen, this is looking much lighter than what it is in real life. It's a darker green, not a lot darker, but darker, slightly more yellow. Very nice shade. I got Pizzazz Metallic, which is sort of a blue, not a blue, a purpley grayish metallic color. It's very, very pretty. I picked up True Blue, which is a metallic blue color. It's almost a deeper blue than what's showing on the camera, at least through my Facebook. And I got Brown Betty, which is basically, he told me, it's basically, silver metallic dumped into a black base, and it comes out looking brown. And it's not quite a root beer, but it's in that area. Very nice shade. Now the other colors I picked up, the other paints I picked up, is from Syndicate Customs. There again, these are all custom paint. They're again basically on Facebook. Chaz mixes these up, and he's constantly changing. So if you do buy some, you might want to buy double what you think you'll need. These are pre-thinned. They're again lacquer. Some very nice colors. The one I actually picked up from him, and this is not showing whatsoever, at least on my MacBook, through this camera, the Logitech camera. This is showing blue. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like finally, but if it's showing blue, this is not blue, it's purple. It's a beautiful shade of purple. He had spoons set up there at the show with all the sprays of the different colors. And this purple on a black base is really beautiful, but from my screen it looks blue, but this is a deep purple. Anyway, Pat Redmond, who has a channel here on not on Facebook. Well, he has a Facebook page, but I mean, he has a channel on YouTube. He's helping Chaz from Syndicate Customs, especially for us Canadian guys, to bring some paint over. He had some that he was going to be selling, so I picked up some from him. First one is this Cherry Fire Red #2, which is a beautiful deep red color, almost on the rose pink side, but it is red. I have Ocean Blue, which is a nice medium metallic blue. I have, what is this again? Lagoon Green Pearl, which is a really neat sort of turquoisey color. And I have this Teo Night, which is another metallic color, and it's a sort of a blue-gray metallic color. So that's the paints that I bought. And for the rest of the story, I happened to meet up, he found me. Mason from Detroit Muscle. We haven't seen a video from him in quite a while, but he's still in the hobby. And he's trying to find a way of spraying paints that don't smell like these lacquers that I just showed you, because he paints in the basement. So he presented me with this spoon. It's basically sublime, if you're familiar with the colors from um, Mopars in the late 60s, early 70s. This is basically a sublime green, which I didn't realize at the time, but found out later. What this is acrylic paint. It's craft acrylic, but he's come up with a formula. Now, as I was standing there talking to him and he'd given me the spoon, I kept rubbing my thumb on it, and not really hard, but just enough. And I kept rubbing and rubbing, and it never came off this spoon. And if you know craft acrylics, often it will if you haven't primed. This spoon was not primed. He painted it that morning before coming to the show, and it was dry when he presented it to me, and I can't scratch through this paint. Now maybe if I could, if I put a lot of pressure on it, but as it is, I just rubbing it like this, I can't rub through it. So he was good enough to give me a bottle of this sublime paint, and I've got to come up with something to put it on to show it to you. Now he plans on making a video to tell people what the formula is, because he's been doing quite a bit of experimenting, and so there's a number of different things in here. This is actually a metallic paint. It uses Liquitex iridescent medium, and it'll never show on this camera, but it's a very nice in-scale metallic, and it looks like it'll be the way to go to, especially for people who can't spray indoors because you're, in the base, pardon me, in the basement or in the kitchen or wherever you might be, or just a bedroom. So we'll have to look forward to this from Mason from Detroit Muscle to do a video on this. He's given. Anyway, Mason is supposed to do a video on this, on the composition of the thinners he uses and of the composition of the paint. Um, he's given me the formula through emails and whatnot. I'm thrilled to have that. I'll have to go out and find. There's nowhere around here that'll carry the paints, but Michael's, or in Toronto area, Desairs. There's different artist shops that will have the things that he uses for this, but it's a very durable. And then he was recommending the Minwax acrylic clears to use as clears to top coat. But he's going to do a video on that, and we'll look forward to that. That was my experience at Detroit NNL. It was great to see Mason and his son. We chatted for quite a while. Got to see the neat Mazda Miata that his son has bought and is driving, and it was great to see Pat Redmond. He was taking the official photos at the show, and we just had a very good time. So like I said, I'll try to get the slideshow together. I don't know what to expect out of this, so I'm not making you guys any big promises, but we'll get something together because I know the camera at least has some pictures, so we'll sort that out. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.